Hello all, and welcome to the Panorama Consulting Group ERP Vendor Spotlight. Thanks for joining us. Today we're highlighting the SYSPRO application. My name is Chris DeVault, and I am Director of Industry Relations and Manager of Software Selection within Panorama. We also have the SYSPRO team with us today. Sanjay?
Thanks, Chris. Yes, my name is Sanjay Juntkar. I'm a marketing strategy leader over here at SYSPRO. Been with the company for the last few years. Been in the ERP space for over 20.
And I'm Erin Schley, and I manage marketing communications for SYSPRO USA. I've been with the company for a little over 8 years, and I'm really excited to be here with everyone today.
Great, thank you both. I'm looking forward to our discussion and overview today. For our attendees, we do have a special offer, a nice offer of free consulting for the first few respondents that respond to today's webinar, so I encourage you to do that afterwards. What we're going to be going over today, I want to look at the brief agenda. We're going to look at some recent trends from both the Panorama side and the SYSPRO side. We're also going to have a brief overview of the SYSPRO ERP application. We'll address some questions at the end if we have time as well. And to start off, a brief overview of Panorama Consulting Group. On the left-hand side, you can see Panorama's lines of service, full management consulting offerings, and we highlight and specialize in many of these service lines such as ERP selection implementation, change management, always important during any of these transition projects. We do some expert witness. We also specialize in mergers, acquisitions, and turnaround analysis. In the middle, you can see the industries we focus on: manufacturing, distribution, professional services. Do a lot of work with nonprofit, government, and public sector entities. Also specialize in the healthcare, retail, energy services. And then on the right-hand side is a little bit about our team, mainly focusing on the people. The main message is really experienced and smart resources that we have here at Panorama. This is a quick snapshot of some of the companies that we work with, really a global reach of our service offerings, many different industries, clients from startup with no revenue to $20 billion plus revenue, different size enterprises. So it really gives us exposure to some great projects from high-tech manufacturers all the way through even distribution companies. Now, our projects include numerous ERP vendors from Tier 1 providers to Tier 2 providers, also niche applications for supply chain management, HCM, and workforce management. We get great exposure across the board with all these different applications. The intent is to provide Today, the intent is to provide some exposure to what we are seeing in the industry, do some discovery information about SYSPRO, and we'll get a brief overview of the SYSPRO application as well. Going back quickly to the agenda here, we're going to talk about some recent trends that Panorama has seen from the production side in the industry manufacturing, or in the manufacturing industry, excuse me. Some of the recent trends that we're seeing, that manufacturing organizations are using secure portals and blockchain for forecasting, collaboration, and procurement, really digitizing the supply chains. Artificial intelligence along with the Internet of Things, we're going to discuss that a little bit today. We're certainly seeing more practical usage within the production facilities in combination with workflow automation and business intelligence. Now, the customer experience is a large focus by many vendors and by many of our customers. We want to keep in mind that customers can be internal to an organization and also the traditional external customer as well. We're certainly seeing more business to business, business to consumer type modes of operation. Both manufacturers and distributors want to still sell to their wholesale clients and their business to business, but are offering more of trying to offer more of an Amazon experience and having end consumers be available to get their products. See a lot of e-commerce channels as higher priorities within our manufacturing organizations. And then for best practices and standardizations, we are seeing many organizations that are willing to streamline processes and really adopt best practices where appropriate. These companies are reducing the risk and the cost and duration of ERP implementation. Of course, change management is always critical to their success. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sanjay and Aaron from the SYSPRO team.
Thanks, Chris. And it's very interesting is that we're very similar on the trends that we're seeing within the industry, just in a slightly different way. Smart manufacturing or Industry 4.0 has come to the forefront. You're starting to see, manufacturers and distributors out there that are going through their life cycle of their shop floor and bringing in new equipment and bringing in new functionality within those equipment to be able to handle the smart manufacturing that traditionally 10 years ago was just a theory. Now you're starting to see those people start to implement and bring in that ability to do that. So smart manufacturing, in its simplest sense, can be defined as a large-scale integration of advanced manufacturing technologies and processes. Ultimately, intelligent manufacturing serves to help those companies optimize organizational systems, improve product quality, increase the efficient allocation of resources, and positively impact customer service. So all along the lines of what Panorama is seeing is what we see within that smart manufacturing space as well. The other trend that we're seeing is data utilization. It used to be that traditional ERP excuse me, was considered a system of record. It was, how do I enter my sales orders? How do I enter my purchase orders? How do I get my inventory? How do I put all that information in there? But the data wasn't being utilized. It was more of, it almost became a data liability, and that rather than a data asset, such as your IP or any financial records that you needed to keep because of audits or IRS or any other compliance needs. Nowadays, though, with the explosion of IoT, with the explosion of smart manufacturing, all of that data is now starting to be held, and also it's cheaper to maintain that data and archive that data on site. But what you're seeing is a trend of taking the ERP and making it a system of engagement where you're utilizing that data and helping to make better and faster decisions closer to the transaction than ever before. Of course, all of this is forcing people to look at workforce training in a different light. It used to be that you had, the high skills gap where, most manufacturers could bring in those low-skilled workers and piece out and manufacture parts and build it very quickly. Then with the introduction of smart manufacturing, you started to see the high skills gap, or the high skill that was needed for programmers to be able to sit there on the shop floor and actually integrate all these machines and bring that information in. But nowadays, what you're seeing is a middle skills gap where, you don't just necessarily need a person that can just build a part repetitively, and you don't need that programmer that might cost more. What you're seeing is you need that person that's flexible, that can actually handle touching a screen, inputting data, as well as going on to the next job. And it's causing a problem where people need to be trained on those systems, and there has to be easy access to that training so that those people on your shop floor can bring in the systems that they need. In addition, IoT. IoT is not just sensor data that's out there that people want to bring in, whether it be on the shop floor itself or in their product, but it's also image data that you have to look at. So IoT is all around getting those pieces of sensors and those cameras and those other pieces of equipment embedded in your manufacturing process to pull that data that can then be acted upon through data utilization, increasing the smart factory footprint to outside of the shop floor. Of course, with all this data that's being collected, whether it be through IoT or smart manufacturing, that data utilization starts to get overwhelming. A person can't just sit there and be able to crunch all the numbers that are available. And that's where artificial intelligence starts coming into play. Building out these predictive models, these maintenance models that will allow a person to be able to surface up the data and the KPIs through artificial intelligence and see that information in real time. That is going to be huge in the next few years, that trend. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Erin, and she's going to talk a little bit about SYSPRO.
So I'm just going to give a brief overview of who SYSPRO is as a company, just to get everyone familiar with us. One of our biggest differentiators is that since the inception of SYSPRO, a little over 40 years ago, we have been and we've remained a single system. So we don't have a divested focus across a couple of different product lines. We've taken one single system and we've organically focused on that system throughout the development of our product. And an integral part of what makes us unique is the fact that we keep providing our focus on two niche industries, and that's manufacturing and distribution. We don't try to be everything for everyone. We know what we do and what we do well, and we steer our focus to that, which is manufacturing and distribution. We really want to ensure that we keep a deep understanding of the needs of these two sectors. Because of that, we have very, very happy customers who stay with us for quite a long time. It really has rewarded us one of the highest customer retention rates in the industry, and we're very, very proud of the fact that we grow with our customers. We remain one of the longest standing privately owned ERP vendors of ERP software in the world. We operate in over 60 countries across 6 continents. And our primary method of delivering our solutions to market is through our strong channel partner network. They're responsible for local implementation and support, and that currently sits around 1,600 partner resources worldwide. So we have a very large channel that we really are committed to, and we want to continue to work towards developing that partner channel throughout 2019 and the future. I also really want to briefly touch on what we believe our value to the market is. I'm not going to go too deep into these because Sanjay is going to really kind of dive a little bit deeper through our demo and a little bit later in the presentation, but I just want to briefly touch on what we believe our value to the market is. As I mentioned before, we're a single solution that we continue to evolve, and we're continuing to evolve the capabilities of the application to meet specific industry requirements of our selected niche target markets, which Sanjay is going to go into next. And it's also important that we continue to address the ongoing evolution of how the market's consuming ERP, and really in particularly in regards to choice and flexibility. So we really want to make sure that we're enabling our customers to run their ERP systems their way on their terms. And that really, really goes into having choice and flexibility of deployment option. So again, Sanjay is going to touch a little deeper on this a bit later. And like Sanjay mentioned before, it's really important that we empower our users with actionable insights. So we're constantly evaluating on whether or not the application is delivering actionable insights and rich data that's going to assist all our end users with the information that they need for improved decision-making, faster decision-making, and more, reliable data. So that's extremely important and one of our highest priorities here. Digital transformation is definitely one of the newer trends that's coming out. And, we're focused on taking our customers on this digital transformation journey. And we also want to provide them with a roadmap that's going to ensure that they'll have the possibilities to enter into this digital transformation
world, really, and what does it actually mean in their context. So it's important that we partner with them to digitize their business and to get them up and running. And we continually evaluate the user experience of our system to make sure that it's engaging, because we know that an engaged workforce means higher productivity and happier employees. So we always want to look at how we can improve the UI and the user engagement through different mediums, and Sanjay is definitely going to be talking about that a little bit later. And it's important to us that we always adopt the current technology stack and provide our customers with a future-proof solution that they can not only utilize today, but that they're going to be able to rely on far into the future. So we want to make sure that you're not only seeing ROI now, but that you're going to be able to take this system into the future with, current trends and technology stacks and continue to see that ROI. People today are all about personalization and feeling like the system's working for them and that they're seeing only what they need to see in order to do their role. No one wants to be cluttered with data that's not relevant to them. So it's been important to us that we make sure that we help personalize and design a workspace that users at all levels of the business, whether you're on the shop floor or you're sitting up, in the C-level offices, that you're going to get the information that's the most pertinent to you, so that you can make the best decisions for your role on a daily basis. And then the last aspect that we always consider in our value to customers is ensuring that our system is able to scale correctly as your organization grows. So I know that this is a hot topic, and I know that this is really important, and Sanjay is going to be discussing this later about our scalability, but whether it's in different territories or acquisitions or mergers, we want to make sure that SYSPRO, that our application is capable of handling all the traditional challenges associated with scaling. So these are really what we focus on and what we put a lot of energy into, and what we want to make sure that our system is continually addressing. And with that, I'm going to have Sanjay take back the reins as he kind of discusses one of our key differentials, which is our focus on a few specific target markets.
Thank you, Erin. So like Erin said, we concentrate on the manufacturing and distribution space, and that's one of the things that we try to do is we narrow our focus in just those two spaces and stick with that, providing a lot of deep functionality. But further along those lines, we've also even further narrowed our focus in terms of our development. And that's not to say that we don't have outliers in other industries or other customers in other industries or verticals out there, but that these are the areas that we have rich depth of functionality in. We're very deep in these verticals that you're seeing on the screen. So plastics and rubbers, packaging, electronics, food and beverage, automotive parts and accessories. I think that you're seeing that the key theme within most of those are either they support an industry or vertical, or are a vertical that deals with heavy regulation or heavy compliance. And those are the types of verticals that we feel that we're strong in, and know that we are strong in the sense of all the depth of our functionality. So as you've heard me talk about trends before, this latest release of SYSPRO, which is called SYSPRO 8, we spent a lot of time on the technology side of it, trying to build into those trends that we've been seeing over the last few years. So not only are we talking about this and saying, oh, here's the theoretical possibilities, we're actually implementing these and also providing content within these technologies. So whether it's our bots that are available right now with our release, where it has 60 skill sets. So if you think of it as an Amazon Alexa, the skills that are available, such as an invoice query, a customer query, can all be done through the bots in an automated process that you don't have to deal with. And you're going to see a demo of that later on in the presentation. IoT, we're starting to utilize Microsoft's Azure IoT Hub for that. So we have a few customers that have case studies on it about how they're utilizing IoT, like I said before, not just on the shop floor for sensor data and image data, but also out into their product. They're actually building IoT sensors in their product so that they can actually do predictive analytics or even maintenance through the IoT with the combination of machine learning and artificial intelligence. And of course, Industry 4.0. We want to make it as easy as possible to take that new machinery that you're putting on this shop floor that has the ability to communicate that data back to the ERP system. And we utilize that and provide those hooks, those APIs to be able to do that. Of course, the layer of foundation that needs to be there with our proven and award-winning event and digital moment orchestration is there. It's all the workflow that's built into the system so that you can take advantage of all this machine learning, AI, IoT, and bots in Industry 4.0 and social ERP and provide workflow to it in an automated fashion so that way you're not having to utilize resources unnecessarily to implement these technologies. One of the other key differentiators that we like to talk about is running ERP your way on your terms. So we provide a lot of choice and flexibility within the system while still putting a rigid structure around each of these processes. So you can choose how to deploy, whether it be in on-premise, private cloud, or even a public Azure or any other type of cloud out there, Amazon as well. So, and it's always the same system, the same single code base that Aaron talked about, the same ability to upgrade if you need to or want to, and do that whether it's on-premise or private cloud or public or even a mixture of both. You choose how to engage. We have our rich Windows client UI that's available and always has been there and will be there from now until whenever. But we've also introduced our web-based UI, which is Avante, and it's feature function and rich, and you're going to see this in the demo, as well as a mobile interface that provides a disconnected environment on a mobile device or tablet that can then take slices of that data and put that information in. Again, reacting to the same database, so you're not seeing two different versions of the truth or having to integrate different UIs with different data structures. The other option that we love to talk about is how you pay. This is great within the industry in terms of a licensing model. You can still do your perpetual licenses, paying the majority of the fee up front if you want to, and paying a small annual maintenance fee. Or you can do a subscription fee where you're paying on a monthly or yearly basis and utilizing the software as you need to. And of course, one of the things that we're very proud of is, and we've just introduced recently, is all our connected services that are available. This is our fourth pillar of that technology that we talked about, where you can utilize Azure's IoT or machine learning infrastructure and also the bot infrastructure out on the web in any other application that you need to, whether it be for the bots, to give you an example, in Facebook, Skype, or Messenger, or on the IoT hub, utilizing it with different sensor information, and also machine learning, whether you have data scientists on board or you've contracted with that need to build their systems and then utilize the connected services that are available. So it's basically a real flexible system that's available to you.
Great. Thank you, Sanjay and Aaron. Very nice overview of the SYSPRO organization. Sanjay is now going to show us a brief overview of the application itself from a couple of different user viewpoints within a manufacturing organization.
So what you're seeing right now is SYSPRO's Avante web-based user interface. What you're looking at right now is a sales dashboard, and it's got all kinds of information that's available to you and can be customized and configured to fit your needs. So whether we have all the different roles that are available within a system called Workspaces. So maybe I'm an inventory manager or an operations manager, and I have these dashboards that are available to me, and I can build on this. There's content that's available that you can see these dashboards and these roles that you want to view. Within not only the dashboards, but the UI itself has got very common components to it. One of the components that you're seeing on this dashboard is the ability to see these web views or these cards that are available, as well as business insights, which are small KPIs of information that is surfaced for you. Again, that system of engagement where you can actually act upon it. So if I notice my gross profit percentage today, and then tomorrow I notice that it's dropped a little bit, maybe I want to go in there and see that information, or my day since my last sales, or my average invoice value. And I can actually go in and click on one of these cards, and it's going to bring me back to the detail that I'm looking at. So I might be looking at total back orders out here and seeing that information. And here again, it's in a very familiar Excel-like interface where I can drag and drop columns and bring over information. So if I wanted to pull customer over and see this information closer to that point, or if I wanted to group by product class, I can pull that information and bring that in as a group by. So, and then it'll save, and next time I go in there, I can see that information. But that's also part of my reporting structure within here. I can export that data in Excel, or I can bring it in as a PDF report. So there's multitudes of ways to bring information in and out of the system very quickly and very easily. Of course, we also have our traditional infrastructure where you have all the menus, menu items, and you can bring up information. So if I'm in the menus, I can bring up accounts payable and search against that, and it'll actually bring those pieces of information out there. And then go through the menu structure that way if I need to. But here again, I'm going through my dashboard, and I don't have to go through each of the menu items to find that information. I've got my favorites here that I'm going to. So I can not only see those KPIs or those business insights information or any of the alerts that I might have on the system itself, but I can actually go into the query screens or the AP screens if I wanted to, and sales order entry is there as well, and bring back information. Of course, you have the top level search, which is more Google-like, where I can bring in that information or type in that information, and it'll find that all in context of the whole application. But then I have also the ability to search based off the object that I'm looking at. So this is my customer query, so it's looking for customers. I can bring back even additional, more robust search engine, and it's bringing back a list of all the customer objects within the system that I have access to. And here again, I can see all that information. I can filter down that information or say, hey, you know what? I just need to see the top 20 that hit my criteria. And you have unlimited ability to filter this system. You have customization where you can actually bring in these filter codes if you need to. But the system out of the box already has a lot of information based on the object. So when I'm in invoices, I might see invoice class rather than customer class, which I'm in right now is as customers. I can see contact information, so maybe I want to bring in some area code or zip code or maybe a domain address and see that filter. Any credit limits, maybe I want to see somebody that's been over a certain credit amount. In addition, we have sliders that are available, so I can see transaction dates and not have to hunt and peck and try to find the transaction dates that I'm looking for. This shows me all the transactions that are available within a certain date period that is recorded in our database, and I can actually slide and bring in that particular time frame that I want to within the system and bring that data back. Once I find that information, it's as easy as clicking on the system, but I can design workflow around it. I can bring it into workspaces. I can even see the card information on bank balances of information. So this is a small, different little view of information that I can see on that particular customer. But if I want to bring that whole customer back and see everything about it, I can click in here. And it's gonna bring back that that data that's in the database. Here again, those business insights. the small little KPIs that I can see information about and act upon that system of engagement that's available. In addition, you're able to see all the information on the person, whether they're active, how much credit's available, their contact information, their credit standing. Here's some notes in a carousel, so I can actually go through all the notes that are available out here and jump through that information. If I wanted to see further information on this customer, I can click on very short links that are available. Here again, it's all web-based. It's available to you on your tablets. It's all responsive. It's available through your smartphones on your Espresso platform. But here again, I can see all the invoices out here. I can see what's balance due, when they were posted by month. Maybe I want to group them by those months. I can do that as well and see that information here again very quickly, easily, export it out, put it into a PDF, get my reports out that I need to whenever I need to. And of course, some sales history information, some small graphs. I'm a very visual person. I love to see all that information where I can. So with that, I'm gonna go back into another role out there, just to show additional information that you can see out here. Home screen. And maybe I'm an inventory manager and I'm going into my information and I want to see all that information. Here again, I can see stock codes, I can see movements that are going on in my inventory, I can do an inventory lookup, or my warehouse bins. I can bring up an operations screen where I'm seeing all my active jobs, and maybe I want to see what's going on the shop floor in terms of WIP information. I can actually bring that back and see all the material value issues, the labor issues, and everything else that's available within the system. Being an operations manager or a plant or a shop floor, I have a heavy requirement around scheduling, and SYSPRO's robust application in this module called SYSPRO Mom is available for people to schedule and see what the factory shop floor looks like in terms of all the jobs that are going on and what's being done, and also look in the future of that shop floor. So within the system here, I can see a factory explorer, and I'll pull this slider out, and you can see all your work centers that are available. And I can see all the work centers that are available and pull those in, say, hey, you know what, I want to schedule against this. I want to schedule against a couple of other things out there. I can, in this view of the schedule, I can go down to my month, my week, my day, my time, all the way down to minutes if I needed to. It depends on your processes and your needs to see those systems. I can see what sub-jobs are going on within here by just clicking on the plus. I can see if there's enough materials that are available, what operations are being worked on, is it scheduled, or I can even pin certain jobs that are high profile and cannot be moved. So once I've started looking at this information and managing against it, I can start planning or scheduling those jobs. And I can auto-schedule. I can auto-schedule backwards or forwards within the system based off of constraints. I can split tasks out there. I can schedule around those pinned jobs that we talked about. And the system is maintaining all of that information in there. I can put in use setup times, alternatives, and I can also plan on information. So if I'm doing what if scenarios, so if I have the shop floor running as efficiently as possible in my production plan, once I've scheduled that out, what happens if I throw a wrench in it? Like all of a sudden a high profile customer needs additional product. I can add what if scenarios within the plan and predict what's going on with the shop floor and what it's going to do to my inventory or to my people or to my machinery and equipment. Once I've planned it out, once I've scheduled it and I've reviewed it, and I can then publish out that production plan out to the shop floor. How do they get to see that information? Well, here again, through our simple web-based user interface, they come into a very touch-friendly, tablet-friendly interface that allows them to start seeing that information. So I might be going in to the workforce and seeing a list of all my employees and their statuses. So as this is coming up, there it goes. So as you see the employee statuses, I can see all their information, what jobs they're working on, how much availability they might have. So here's Jane Smith, and here's all the jobs she's working on. I can see her performance, her quality. If we're entering information in the quality system, which then goes into what's called an overall labor effectiveness, and see that information out there. But not only that, we did talk about Industry 4.0 and being able to bring those the machines that are working on those particular jobs. So I can see here that this assembly machine has got 100% availability, but it's got a few jobs that it's working on, what its performance is. Maybe it's identifying quality defects that are going on within the system, which then goes into what's called an overall equipment effectiveness KPI. And I can see that information and act upon it. So I can see what jobs are being worked on. I can see what the current activities are. I can audit it. I can do material issues against even just the machine itself if I needed to. For your shop floor, when a person comes on, they can basically either barcode scan their ID or they can enter the information right within the system and log in. So here I am as Jane Smith. I can add additional jobs if I want to. I can go into barcoding, barcode entry. I can say I'm going to lunch. I can issue materials against this stuff. If I have a production issue, I can actually identify it here and be able to notify the shop floor managers or even the production managers about any issues that are going on. I can enter in my time, so that way you're able to collect all that information. In addition, there's attachments. So if a job has a particular set of work instructions, that comes along in a digital format. And then, of course, you have reporting capability within the system. So I can go in and actually identify a report against a particular job here. And identify any QA data that I might want to put in here. How much did I produce? How much was scrapped? Any comments on those scraps? And I can customize and modify this to add additional QA information, whether it's measurement information or quantitative information that I want to add, and then put that report in with the job, and it goes on to whoever it needs to through our robust workflow engine. The last piece that I want to talk about is the machine learning and AI. Of course, you know, we talked about those trends and being able to see that information, but within the interface, which is an industry first, I believe, is the ability to start seeing artificial intelligence directly within the UI and actually training the UI for that. Or, I mean, training the application for that. So if I go in here and I bring up the AI administrator, just so you can see that information about how it's easy to set up, we actually have pre-built CAN AI models that come with the system, so people can actually start doing that. You know, maybe it's a chance an order will be late. I'm entering a sales order on the front end. I have a little KPI that shows a predictive analytics that will sit there and tell me what's the chance that this order is going to be late based off of what's going on on the shop floor. Maybe it's weather data that I want to add in here to say, you know what, this might cause a delay because we're having a heavy snowstorm. So that predictive analytics right out of the box, the stock code profitability, customer quote success, how successful will this quote be with this particular customer based off of past quotes that you've done with them based off of, other data sources that might tell you, such as credit information, or maybe they got acquired recently and you want to get that into your predictive analysis. It's very easy within the system to bring that information in and then train the UI and the machine learning right from the actual ERP application itself. All right, so now you've seen a flavor of SYSPRO itself, and I'm going to go through a little bit about the enhancements that we've done that we're very proud of in the latest SYSPRO 8 release. We have a release cycle of basically twice a year that we're adding functionality within the application. And so with that, we're continuously improving the application, continuously deepening our functionality within those verticals that we talked about. So around quality management, here again, those verticals are very compliance heavy that we deal with. We're adding additional information such as recorded dates, customer complaints, and one that we're very proud of within the food and beverage industry that we've always had, but we're enhancing the system is product recall and mock recalls to be able to not only just do those functionality, but what financial impact does it have to the companies as well, and providing that ability to see that information. A lot around our enhancements on financial innovations is we've enhanced the ledger balancing and reconciliation process to make it easier and more secure, as well as provide the ability to be more confident in those numbers that are coming across. We do a series of health checks against those ledger balances to verify that ledger data is correct. And then, of course, we're enhancing the group accounts as well within the system, so you can bring in that financial data from maybe a secondary entities, or even foreign entities as well. On the distribution side, we're providing a lot more robust functionality around our order picking cycles, providing additional options in how you pick, whether it be wave, whether it be first in for last out, or any other picking cycles that you want to do. We're providing that out of the box. We've always provided the ability for you to customize those and build on those, but you also have these out of the box options as well. Our supply chain portals are continuously improving, so that way you can provide your suppliers and other third-party vendors the ability to see the data that's in your system and act upon that. And of course, we're always enhancing our MOM capabilities, which is our manufacturing operations management. You saw a flavor of that, which was the production scheduling, as well as the ability to do shop floor tracking and entering that information. But we're also enhancing our recipe management and being able to bring in the ability to do a lot more around R&D research around recipe management. This is not only for food and beverage, but if you think about it, it's also for pharma and any other discrete or process manufacturing verticals out there. And we continue to enhance the content within our digital transformation journey. So whereas a lot of people theoretically talk about these abilities and also provide the ability to bring those on out of the box, we're starting to bring in some more business scenarios in our AI and machine learning so that people can start taking advantage of those. We're enhancing the UI capabilities to be able to do more predictive analytics, not just in the UI itself, but also on the bots. So could you imagine a scenario where a bot will then tell you, rather than you having to tell them, a price increase is coming up or a price decrease is coming up? So those are the types of UI or AI enhancements that we're doing within the system. We're also always beefing up our rules-based engine. We're providing a WYSIWYG front end that will allow you to take advantage of that rules-based engine that's always been there, but even further bring it to the masses. And of course, we've got 60 skills right now in the bots. We're enhancing those with every release. And we're building out our connected services platform so that people can take advantage of this, whether they're on-premise, whether they use a private cloud, a public cloud, being able to access our IoT, our machine learning, and our reporting APIs and integrate not only within our system, but any system out there. Chris, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Sanjay. Very nice overview of the application. Interesting to see what's coming as well. Interesting around the lot traceability, the mock recall, and the financial impact of that. Most companies don't have the ability to really tie a financial impact to those mock recalls. Very good to see. Very good overview. I appreciate it. And nice, very powerful tools to help manufacturing organizations really optimize that production floor and supply chain as well. So with that, just a reminder here to take advantage of our free consulting hour offer. It'd be great to talk to you about where you're at in your journey with ERP or digital transformation optimization. And then with that, we'll also take some questions now. And the first question is around system scalability. So Sanjay, maybe you could explain how your system is scalable, and for example, how you're taking companies from 50 million to 200 million and beyond.
Sure. Like Erin mentioned within her part, the scalability portion is very important to SYSPRO, and the reason for that is that we've had, over the last 30 or 40 years, what's unique with SYSPRO is that our customer base has stayed with us for a long time. We have customers that have been on SYSPRO for 30 years. And as you know, companies don't just stay compliant within or complacent within their growth mode. So they grow, and we've seen these companies grow from being either a startup or a small $10 million company, all the way to what they are now, which is multi-billion-dollar companies. And so we've scaled with them, and it's important that we continue to do that so that they can have the confidence that their ERP system is going to grow with them as they grow. So we provide a standard Microsoft platform. We're on a SQL database. We've optimized our APIs and our web services to make sure that that we can scale. We go up and we test through third-party vendors on the application to verify the scalability of the application. And I'm proud to say within SYSPRO 8, our latest release, we've actually seen a 20 to 30% increase in throughput on the application itself.
Another question around bots. How would a bot be used in a real-life scenario? Great question.
So the way we've envisioned that on bots is that there's three types of users out there. There's those, the first level of user is somebody that we're aware of, whether it be through Facebook Messenger, through Skype, or anything else. They might have the bot as one of their friends. They might be a potential prospect that's out there. But they're very much just looking around, right? And so they might ask you, what's your price on this particular product? And you want to expose that through the bot, so they can put that in a chat message, and the bot will come back and give them the pricing on that if you allow it to. It'll be a generic price, obviously, and be able to expose certain bits of information that you want to through those bot skill sets. The second level is a customer. And that's kind of the main scenario that we see, where a customer can log in, it's aware of who it is, as well as any information that's held within our system on the customer master record. And that customer might come in and place an order. They might request a quote. They might want to do an inventory query to see if you have in stock what's available. And keep in mind, because it's aware of who the customer is, if there's any special pricing within that customer or any special price levels, the bot will understand that and will put that in there so that they understand what's going on and get that transactional information correct, as well as typical statuses of orders and stuff like that. The third level, which is the last, is an employee. An employee might have additional access that other people don't have and be able to see maybe jobs on the shop floor. Maybe it's the shop floor guy that just wants to question, what's the status on this job? Where which machine is it at? Who's working on it? Those types of skill sets are available, and they can be automated through the bot so that people can look at that information.
Great, thanks, Sanjay. Cool stuff there. Another last question that we'll take here, and Sanjay, you and Aaron had mentioned earlier your vertical markets and focus. Can you just explain what a typical customer of SYSPRO looks like, size-wise, location, and whatnot?
Sure. So SYSPRO being a global company, we're in a bunch of countries out there. So we're not stuck to one region or anything else like that. A multi-plant for a manufacturer or a multi-warehouse for a distributor is something that we can handle as well. But on the revenue side, anything from 10 to maybe 10 million to 10 billion is kind of our huge sweet spot, you might say. Employee sizes range anywhere from a 10 to 25 user company all the way up to hundreds, thousands of employees. So we are very robust in our application, but here again, we're very deep in the verticals that we do target. So that's kind of our niche is those verticals.
Good, thank you, Sanjay, and really appreciate today's overview, and thank you to Aaron as well for your participation. Thanks to all the attendees for logging in and attending our webinar today. The snapshot of SYSPRO. Please take a quick snapshot of this information if you'd like to further continue contact with us. Laura Florence is our Director of Business Development, and what makes Laura unique in her position is she's actually formerly of the consulting side. She was on the delivery side of Panorama, and now leads the sales team. So great resource that we have here from the business development standpoint in Laura. So please contact her and visit our website and whatnot. Thank you again very much for today, and take care.